I went to Illinois at a perfect time. It was 86 to 99. So those years, 13, 14 years, where we had an office for computer services office, CSO or something. At the time there was protocols like FTP and Gopher and strange things like that. People who had email were very few. Like we used to move files in a strange way and write commands, and I was fascinated by that. And the supercomputer, when they first bought the Cray computer, and it was a big deal. You go watch that big computer. Actually, any iPhone today is faster than that computer. But at that time, we used to rent time to do research, and my research was computational, so I was really into this. But I remember I used to love Steve Jobs. It was almost, we are the same age, and I was following this young kid who's doing amazing things. And he came to Illinois to visit his friend, Stephen Wolfram. Stephen was hired at the same year I was hired. But I was hired as an assistant professor. He was hired as a full professor, and he was younger. And he was made director of the Center for Complex Systems. So it was the speech of the campus, like, who is this kid who comes from the door as a tenured full professor and a center director? He's only like 26 or something. He had two, he's a geek, he's a super genius. He got 2 PhDs from Cornell. And I got to know him. He's a physicist, and he is a geek. Yes, I loved him. And Steve Jobs, not surprisingly, is his friend. And they used to, I used to hang out with those people. They were young. They were actually scheming their creative ideas. Like Stephen Wolfram, after all this, after a year of being employed as a full professor, he wrote to the university president like a 2-line message. He said, I hereby submit my resignation because I'm bored. So he's that kind of a geek. And then he went in Champaign, Illinois, in Mattis Avenue. They're still there. He made his company, Wolfram, and made his first product called Mathematica. And he showed it to me because we were always talking about these things. He was telling me, you know what, I can make the computer do symbolic math. And I said, you cannot do that. Computers do numerical math. I mean, we started with calculators, you can handle numbers, but he wanted the computer to solve equations that are symbolic, like we write ax plus b equals 0. So how could the computer understand that? But he managed to do this, and he had the first software that does symbolic math. I was fascinated. And he gave me the floppies at the time of version 1. Now, Steve at that time was kicked out of Apple, had a trauma, and then came back. And with his friend, Steven, he told him, I'm making a new computer called the Next Computer. Next Computer was a black machine that was a hit at the time. It was only sold in universities. So I used to go to our store and buy Next computers. At that time, it was like 94, 93, 94, something like that. I made a lab out of those computers. That was a unique looking thing. And my chairman allowed me to get 2 rooms at the entrance, put labs. I bought 100 machines from funding I had, and used to spend all night learning Unix to see how to fix them. There was no system administrator, so like my father, I used to do things myself. Fixed the computers, made accounts for my students. I wanted to teach them with the computer in 93, 94. Then the internet was born, kind of, the internet as we know it, with the protocol, really, the HTML, the HTTP protocol, was born in 94, and it was born at Illinois, where I was, by Mark Andreessen, who was our student. Yeah, he was a student of the College of Engineering. He used to hang out with, I used to hang out with all these geeks. So Mark, being a young guy, came and tried to explain to me what the HTTP protocol is. And I couldn't figure it out. He said, you know, you can have this page on your computer and I can see it on my computer. That looked like magic. He showed me that and I said, what? I can make my courses like that? So in 94, I was already a tenured associate professor at the time. Now tenure is over, so I'm free to do my hobbies and things. So I had the next computers. I put Mathematica on them. I wanted to teach my kids, my students, how to use that for my courses. But Mark showed me this, and I started doing my courses in engineering digitally. I prepared my own content. I learned HTML to write, code it, and a lot of stuff. It was very difficult. I had to write equations at that time. So in 95, I had a whole website that was very unique, actually, in 95, called Mechanics on the Internet. And it had 6 courses, material science and fracture mechanics and elasticity and stuff like that. And in 96, I came to Egypt on a sabbatical leave. And they forced me to teach a graduate course from Egypt. So in 96, I was a professor at Illinois. I taught a graduate course over dial-up from Egypt because I had it digitally. And somehow I managed to do that and get the students. Graduate courses have few students, so there were less than 10. But they took the course. I saw the internet in 94, 95, and what shocked me is the first course I put, I started receiving comments. And the comments came from Brasilia and Argentina. That's the first time I feel the scale. So I'm not bound by my students in Illinois anymore. I can touch people who live anywhere. And that was an eye-opener. In 96, I was able to be in Cairo and do distance education back in 96. Then came back. I have become famous in the Midwest for that. So there was this Midwest tour where I used to go to different universities to teach them how to do their courses online. That's what attracted UNESCO.